500 Days of Summer. I first watched this a couple years ago, and up until this Discord watch with Thade, I couldn't remember what I thought of it, and now I think it's like even better than I remember it. It's so perfect. First off, I just absolutely love this story and like the style that's with it. Like other rom-coms you see like don't have much of like a style to them, but like this one does. It gives itself like some personality to stand out against all the other rom-coms or romantic dramas coming out around this time. And that's thanks to the great direction of Mark Webb. Like, he just directs the shit out of this movie. Like, so many wonderful moments. Like, and I'm going to talk about some of them. One of my favorite directed scenes in the movie is such a simple one. It's with Tom, Summer, and one of Tom's friends at the karaoke bar just having a casual conversation. Like, it's just like three characters just talking, and it is super engaging to watch. Like, they aren't even acting. They're just being themselves, just having a conversation. I know some people may have a problem with, like, oh, they're not like the characters. Well, you know, sometimes just being yourself, like, it's great. And you don't have to act all the time. But I think my favorite directed scene in the movie is the expectations versus reality. Like, this is such a sucker punch of a scene. Because, like, not only do we get to see Tom's, like, what he's going through, but we also just get some really great direction in it. It's like the reality pushing out the expectations more and more to that reveal of Summer being engaged. That is just incredible, and it's gut-wrenching at the same time. Speaking of that, I might as well get on to the characters. I love all the characters in this movie. I cannot find a single bad performance at all. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel are just perfect. They are perfect as Tom and Summer. Like, they really embody them. Like, if anyone else was doing it, I don't think it would have been as memorable. But it's thanks to them that these characters are believable. Like, we really understand their struggles and what they're going through and how they feel. It's masterclass in acting from those. And from everyone else, like Chloe Grace Moretz, the guy who plays Agent Coulson, and the narrator, Richard McGonigal. And there are also just some moments where, like, there's just such great humor. Like, the "you're making my dreams come true" scene. And then when the marching band comes out, I'm just like, okay, this is nuts. And just some of the remarks from the characters, like, when Tom kind of spits out his, like, drink around the beginning, and so many other moments. Like, also when they're in IKEA. Like, comment down below if you're an IKEA fan, or if you're in the IKEA fandom. I don't know. And also just, like, going back to some of the direction, I also love the scene where Tom is just, like, taking out all the love stuff and just focusing on his architecture. That's another god-tier directing scene. And it, like, some of these feel like music videos. Like, and it's no surprise because Mark Webb also does music videos. So I also really like that. Like, this film could work as both a feature film and a music video. That's really neat. And that ending. The ending is just so bittersweet, and it's a situation we've all been in. And once again, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel just acted out so sincere. I honestly don't know what else to say about 500 Days of Summer. I'm just, like, shocked how wow, it is this good. Like, I thought, like, when I first saw this in 2021, I thought it was good, but I felt like I was a little too young to kind of understand some of the complex themes in here. Now that I've had experience with both relationships and with, like, some other stuff, I can totally, like, understand and relate to these characters. I think you've already heard enough of my thoughts, so let's see what Thade thinks about this movie.
Yes, sir. 500 Days of Summer is pretty much a masterpiece of filmmaking. All the way since it came out, like almost 15 years ago, this movie is just sick. Before watching it with Luke, I never actually like heard too much about it. I just the one thing that I saw about the movie was the meme of the main character Tom, where he's walking around is like so happy and it's over the top, kind of like the scene that Luke was talking about. But I saw people said this movie was like super good, so me and Luke ended up watching it, and it was amazing. The plot was great, the acting was great. There was so much to love from this film. One of the main things that's good about this film that's kind of underrated is the humor. This is kind of like a rom-com movie where I actually did think it was funny. There was a lot of just random moments during the movie, like Tom's over-the-top thing where he's like happy after getting with Summer and stuff, and he's like going around the town, and then it juxtapose flashes to later on when something bad happens. That was like a really funny scene. There's stuff where they're talking in the bar, and he's just talking with his friends, and I thought that was really funny. There's just random jokes in the film that really made me laugh, so I thought that was great. Another thing that's great about this movie is the cinematography. For kind of just like a random movie that stood on its own and wasn't based on any IP or something, I thought the cinematography for this movie was great. The cinematography, the creativity, the movie was very creative. The premise of the film, which is kind of like a love story of how like a guy got kind of like blindsided and broken up with randomly by his girlfriend, and kind of had to like pick up the pieces. Like, I thought that was very cool, and the cinematography in the film is great. It's just low key. There was lots of times in the movie, like Luke talked about in his section of the review. There's that one section where it's expectations versus reality. I thought that was a great like use of editing. There's sometimes where in between parts of the film, there's kind of like black and white renditions of the main character's Tom's like inner thoughts, and those I thought were directed really well. And there's so many different sequences of the movie that are just kind of like eye-catching and just like beautiful. So the cinematography, the premise of the film, they're all just great. And another amazing thing about this movie is the acting. The acting from every actor in this movie, like Zooey Deschanel, the other actors in this movie were great. The main character, Tom, is portrayed very well. I don't think he could be portrayed by any other actor and kind of like have a better performance. Zooey Deschanel is perfect as Summer. And even like the friend characters, the other characters are great. Everybody puts in a great performance, and the dialogue in the film that they kind of like portray is just so natural. It sounds exactly how like normal people actually talk in the real world, so it really immerses you in the film. And the final best thing about this movie is the plot. The plot is very bittersweet, but it kind of keeps you like gripped the entire time. And if you pay attention, there's so many different areas in the film where it's just constantly building, like it's flashbacking to earlier on in the relationship, then it jumps forward to later on. There's so many different kind of like stuff that you can catch up or that you can catch on to that kind of shows why he might have gotten broken up with. And really, it's really just kind of like a relatable film, especially for somebody who's like in their mid-20s or early 20s. This is a very relatable film. There's lots of stuff that happens in relationships, breakups, kind of just life. This film is a great kind of like time capsule of that period in somebody's life. I thought too, the plot, it's so bittersweet at the end. It's just crazy. Like, I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's such a crazy ending where it really kind of like tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. But also the true ending of the film I thought was kind of like funny and a little bit shocking, but you'll have to watch that to find out. Signing out, guys. This was a rare 5 out of 5 for me. I think this is a masterpiece of a film. Make sure to check it out.